McLaren opened Pandora's box with the orders from the last Grand Prix. But on this circuit, the fight continues, and now they have their first World Championship match point. Welcome. This is the 17th round of the Formula One World Championship, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's time to face one of the most treacherous street circuits on the planet. It pairs extreme speed with precise corners, and it's not for the claustrophobic. The streets and circuit of Baku will see a new story this season, which may end with the team's crowning moment. McLaren secures their 10th Constructors' crown, but Red Bull threatens to make things harder for them for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, Norris is fighting to stay in the race for the world title, with Piastri knowing that in 8 races he could be champion, so on a chaotic and difficult track, right? Anything can happen to the contenders for the 2025 crown. Baku is a circuit that always knows how to deliver surprises. We'll see one of those street weekends, and the fight for the driver's title will be alive. Let's begin the preview of the 2025 Formula One Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Eight races will mark the history of the 2025 world champion in a battle that has been controversial but hasn't fully exploded yet. Still, the 2025 season goes on, with 8 races remaining before we learn how it ends. The final one under these ground effect car rules. And we're still waiting to see which orange driver will become the Formula One world champion number, ladies and gentlemen. While that story unfolds, it's time for the drivers to face one of the most treacherous street circuits on the planet. Even though it's a fast track that allows overtaking, it's another one of those where a single spark can cause a completely chaotic race. It's time to race in the land of fire, on a circuit that has many stories of battles and chaos to tell. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this preview by getting to know the new event and the venue that will host this round of the Formula One World Championship, Azerbaijan Baku. Its circuit is the Baku City Circuit, created in 2016, a street circuit that surrounds the boulevard of this city. 6 kilometers of track, 51 laps, 20 corners, 2 drag reduction system activation zones, and 2 potential areas for making any overtaking maneuver. Characterized as a tight circuit with walls close to the track but extremely fast. The first sector starts with speed. It has only 4 corners and each one of them is slow and 90 degrees. What stands out is the back straight between turns 2 and 3, which is a good length, and drivers usually take care of traction when exiting this corner, which can be used for overtaking maneuvers. As I mentioned, every corner in this sector is 90 degrees, requiring hard braking and precise steering. Turn 1 is the toughest braking point on this circuit. When reaching over 350 km/h, the cars that stand out in traction and braking stability will have a big advantage in this first part of the circuit. Unlike the first, the second sector is extremely technical and has the most corners on this track, 11 in total. It consists of corners where most require the same procedure, heavy braking and traction, since they are 90-degree turns. However, there are 2 corners that stand out from the rest, mainly because of how dangerous they are. The first is the Princess Castle corner, the narrowest one in the entire calendar. It demands brushing the walls on entry and precise surgeon-like exits to avoid touching the wall and damaging the car. After that comes the only high-speed section in this part, between turns 2 and 15, where you go flat out and end up at this dangerous corner that requires extremely hard braking, but where the wall is immediately at the exit of the turn. So braking late or misjudging it will send you straight into the wall, most likely destroying the car. Precision is crucial here, as this is the most dangerous and technical section of the Baku City Circuit. And the last sector is pure flat-out speed. It only has 1 slow corner. From turn 17 to turn 1, you keep your foot flat on the accelerator. It's 2 kilometers of pure speed that go through the fast turns 18 and 19. It's a type of high-speed chicane you take flat out. Thanks to the distance and slipstream from single-seaters, overtaking opportunities usually arise. Especially because on this straight, near the pit entry, the drag reduction system is activated for the second time on this circuit. Its length is similar to the previous zone and goes all the way to the braking zone of turn number 1. Given the speed single-seaters reach after the straight, how do they handle this area especially? This device, along with the slipstream, allows for aggressive attacks in turn number 1. So at this particular point on the track, what matters most is the power and speed that the car is able to deliver. Baku is a circuit that invites you to be fast and brush up against every single wall, and that makes it a tricky track because even the slightest mistake will be harshly punished. It's a stop-and-go circuit with so many 90-degree corners that punish you, along with those long straights that allow for overtaking. Thanks to the circuit's width, especially along the main straight, battles here are usually spectacular. And in summary, in the first sector, the most important elements are the brakes and traction. In the second, again, traction and brakes will be punished very harshly. And in the last one, the most important thing is the speed that the single-seater is able to achieve. Azerbaijan has only hosted 8 editions since joining the calendar in 2016, with at least 5 of those Grand Prix notable. Has the safety car come out? And due to the walls being so close and the high speeds that are reached, the safety car is highly likely to appear, with up to a 62% chance that the safety car will have to be used. And the teams usually take that into account when setting up their strategies. And since the track has the walls so close, accidents are likely at practically any point on the circuit. Even a small distraction can send a car into the wall and end a driver's race in seconds. Since it's a stop-and-go circuit, meaning heavy braking, slow corners and straights, the brakes and traction are highly punished in every sector of this track. They are a priority when seeking setups, and the cars typically use medium-low downforce. Since there are actually very few fast corners and the track is full of slow 90-degree turns along with long straights. On this circuit, the 2 drag reduction system zones are crucial for overtaking maneuvers. The first zone is the combination of the main straight along with the braking for turn number 1. Because of its great length, if the attacking driver drafts behind a rival with drag reduction system, the maneuver can be finished before the braking zone. And if he can't, there's always the option to brake later, trying to take the inside line since overtaking on the outside of the corner is practically impossible. Its width and high-speed sections make it the best place to gain positions on track. If the driver can pass here, the second drag reduction system zone offers another chance. The straight is much shorter, but the drag reduction system activation zone covers a similar distance. However, overtaking is harder here since the zone is narrower and demands better traction than your rival, exiting turn 2 and staying close behind your rival through this section. The overtaking method is the same as before, pass on the outside and arrive side by side. It's nearly impossible, so you must either take the position before the braking zone or go deep inside. Although it's a street circuit, overtaking is possible. On a scale of 1 to 5, the difficulty is a solid 3, challenging but doable due to the track's long straights. In Baku's pit lane, you drive at 80 km/h, making transit quick. The entrance is next to the main straight and requires braking through a chicane, which greatly reduces speed. Its exit runs parallel to the circuit but cuts through turn 1. So a pit stop including a tire change can be completed in about 20 seconds. Tire wear is low on this circuit and the asphalt isn't abrasive. While tire stress is slightly higher than usual, there are no problems with lateral loads, which used to make strategies in the past just a single pit stop. Previously, there was little degradation. This year, changes were made to boost degradation and encourage varied strategies. Pirelli will supply the C4, C5 and C6 tires for the last time this year, marking the softest range from the Italian manufacturer. On a chaotic day, Baku can be a lottery circuit where anything can happen. With high speeds and walls close to the track, this circuit feels like gasoline, just waiting for a spark. A world championship needing its stars to step up as everything tightens on a chaotic circuit. Baku can give us one of those absurd races where no one knows what's happening at a certain point in the race. You know, one of the things that as a content creator I used to constantly face is that when I'm looking for information, I keep running into ads and more ads. A few ads are fine, especially if I support them. But having your screen plastered with "Anita wants to meet you and she's 10 meters away from you" really gets tiring. But that's a problem of the past, at least for me, and it could be for you too. This is thanks to the useful virtual tools provided by our friends at Surfshark. If you're already tired of going to websites and seeing ads about Sabrina, she likes to date ugly guys, she's waiting for you, well, Surfshark. In their one plan, they have a tool called Search, a browser that lets you search the internet without showing you annoying ads, without any kind of tracking, and without leaving a trace in your browsing history. If you really wanted to meet Sabrina, who's just 10 meters from your house, we're here to listen, not judge. And if that wasn't enough, the VPN itself already has a security system that prevents anyone from tracking your internet browsing. Now you can safely browse public Wi-Fi or download files. And you should know that your personal information is not at any kind of risk, thus safeguarding your data, your banking information, and as I said, your personal information. By now you should already know several of the benefits of Surfshark that I've mentioned. Go to surfshark.com/skyline and use my code SKYLINE to get 4 extra months when you sign up and try it on any device. And if you don't like it, within 30 days you have a full money-back guarantee. So I recommend you take advantage of this opportunity to try out the full VPN with our friends at Surfshark. Azerbaijan will likely see McLaren crowned as a 10-time Constructors' Champion. But there's still a lot left to be written in the book of the 2025 season. We'll see if McLaren can be beaten again, if their drivers become more aggressive, or if McLaren maintains control over the battle between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. With that in mind, let's see what awaits the 10 teams and 20 drivers in round 17 of the Formula One World Championship. Though Max Verstappen won the last race, as noted before, McLaren could clinch the Constructors' Championship here and claim their 10th title. At this point in the World Championship, there are only 389 points available for the Constructors' Championship, and between McLaren and their pursuers, there is a difference of 337. For McLaren to win the championship at this Grand Prix, they must outscore Ferrari by 9 points, prevent Mercedes from gaining 11 points on them, and stop Red Bull from gaining 32. But with the usual strength of their drivers, they don't make a mess of things. They're almost certain to win the Constructors' Championship since those combinations look easy. Let them have it. I consider the medial collateral ligament 35 strength. However, in Italy they were defeated. This happened because the Monza circuit didn't highlight the car's strengths, as it's a low degradation track with few types of corners. While Baku appears similar on paper, it's a track where traction and brakes are crucial. And that's one of the car's strengths, one of its greatest strengths. So, although it may not be a circuit that suits McLaren perfectly, they could regain their usual strength here to try to leave Baku as Formula One Constructors' World Champions. However, under the current conditions, even though they are the favorites, nothing rules out the possibility that they could be beaten. Especially due to a maniacal Dutchman who, with a distorted sense of reality, has already taken 4 wins from them this season. For Ferrari, things are still completely disappointing. In Italy, they arrived at a circuit that, by its characteristics, should have been beneficial for them, but they ended up having poor pace, completely out of the fight for the podium. Ferrari's current suspension and brakes package didn't perform as expected at Monza, and that's why they had a disappointing home Grand Prix. On paper, Baku, being a low downforce circuit, is another one of those where it seems like the car should work well and be beneficial for them. Historically, Ferrari usually does well at this track. Given what happened in Monza and Red Bull's apparent return to early season form, it's unclear if they'll be strong at this track. But considering that the updates to the car have already stopped and it's still not fully competitive, Ferrari needs more than luck to secure the victory that has repeatedly eluded them in the 2025 season. Although they remain second in the constructors' standings. Mercedes is coming off being the 4th strongest team in Italy, facing a track that on paper shouldn't have posed a problem for the German team. Despite that, they got a disappointing result. However, in Baku they feel more confident about achieving the result they wanted at the Italian Grand Prix, since it's once again a track that on paper benefits them, but where Mercedes understands that execution has to be perfect. Starting Friday, they aim to avoid operational mistakes and improve qualifying, their main weakness recently. Mercedes aims to finish the ground effect era strong with podiums and wins before the season ends. It looks complicated at this circuit, but we'll see if they can be a bit stronger than they were at the Italian Grand Prix. With Verstappen driving, Red Bull secured another win after their last at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. The victory was thanks to floor updates that created a wider, more functional operating window. Max's aggressive setup helped him show impressive speed at the Temple of Speed. But with the changes made, getting a weekend back on track from Friday could be much easier from now on, and give Red Bull, especially Max Verstappen, more chances to fight for victory at certain circuits. And Helmut Marko points out that circuits like Baku, which are fast and extremely aggressive, could make the Red Bull 21 shine again, as we saw in Monza. Their major test will be in Singapore, a circuit that's always been tough for them. For his part, Max and Red Bull want to keep winning, even though the Drivers' Championship looks like a completely impossible mission. And Baku seems like a good place for the Bulls to snatch another victory from McLaren, if they exploit their weaknesses and display the same strength and speed on fast circuits as at the Italian Grand Prix. Willem is barely hanging on, but remains the season's 5th team. The Groba team hoped for a double points finish in Monza, but it wasn't possible, mainly because in qualifying they can't find the window that allows them to be competitive and maximize their results. So Baku, another one of those circuits that benefits them. This team aims to have a strong qualifying session and use the circuit's features to maintain its position as the 5th strongest in the 2025 World Championship and achieve total success. A completely aggressive development approach with 2026 in mind. The team led by Lawrence Stroll will return to a circuit that, due to its characteristics, can be very difficult for them because they will suffer from the same problem they had in Monza again, having to survive on a low downforce circuit, which is the main weakness this car has shown. But the fact that Alonso was fighting for points until a mechanical failure ruined that possibility for him, does it speak to Aston Martin's progress? And for this race? Although again, the team's goal is to minimize the damage and wait for other types of tracks that are more favorable to keep collecting points, they know that scoring is possible on this circuit, even though the chances are tough, but at this point they don't seem completely impossible. Alan Permanet, director of the Racing Bulls team, said a technical issue with their power units hurt their chances for a better result in the last Grand Prix. So in Baku they will try to exploit the potential they couldn't show because of that failure, and with that, resume scoring points in their current heated midfield battle. Also, rumors in the driver market persist, and it's being said that Isaac Hadjar almost has his promotion to Red Bull for 2026 secured. Meanwhile, his spot would be taken by the British driver Avidius Edwin Vlad, a driver from the Red Bull Academy. So Lawson will have to get back to the good results we had seen from him before the Sandberg Grand Prix. This is to secure his seat and to make sure Red Bull doesn't consider dropping him to keep Yuki Tsunoda in the lineup. Sauber enters this Grand Prix determined to keep scoring points, leveraging the strong form of both drivers, especially Bortoleto, who in qualifying has been a machine, allowing him to maximize his chances of scoring points in every recent Grand Prix except for the Dutch Grand Prix. But what about this team specifically beyond race expectations? One thing to highlight is that Sauber has taken 2 key members from Ferrari's engine department. Wolf Zimmermann and Enrico Gualtieri, who are a great hire for the German brand and a significant loss for Ferrari. So the Swiss team's project looks better every day for the future, and we'll have to see if they have what it takes to score points again. This weekend, Haas now faces a new issue for the rest of the season. Oliver Bergman has already accumulated 10 super license points, so if he's penalized from now until November 1st with an action that warrants 2 points, he'll have to serve a race ban. Oliver will need to be very careful racing this weekend and in the next ones too. In terms of performance, this team's inconsistency has cost them a lot of points, so it's a mystery trying to understand how this team will do this weekend. Their chances of getting out of the group, moving up from the back of the grid, and finishing better in 2025 are getting slimmer. Things for Alpine haven't changed much since last weekend. This is another circuit where speed is crucial, which is the French team's weakness. The French team's chances of scoring seem to rely on Colapinto and Pierre Gasly capitalizing on chaos at a circuit suited for it. If nothing strange happens or a miracle appears for them, points should be very hard to get for the team formerly known as Renault. As for the weather, no surprises are expected this weekend that would make this race any more chaotic than it already is. There's a 45% chance of rain only during Saturday's practice 3, after which it clears. For both quali and Sunday's race, temperatures are expected to be between 21 and 23 degrees, so it shouldn't be too hot. Otherwise, there shouldn't be any rain threat. So ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a dry track race as we face this new round of the Formula One World Championship. And finally, to wrap up this preview, it's time for the historical facts section about this Grand Prix and its unique street circuit. The Baku City Circuit, designed under Hermann Tilke's supervision, debuted in 2016. The creators of this Grand Prix specifically requested that the circuit pass key regional sites like the Main Avenue, Maiden Tower and Government Palace. Under that guideline, Hermann Tilke built a 6-kilometer track with a 2.2-kilometer main straight. It's a circuit that's unusual, because while it can give you the most absurd and chaotic race in history, what about the Grand Prix of the century? Or it can also give you a completely boring procession where absolutely nothing happens. And obviously, because of its speed and the walls so close to the track, accidents end up being an everyday thing. Maybe not so much during the race, but at least someone gets hit as early as the practice session. Baku has been in Formula One since 2016 except for 2020. Because of the pandemic, this circuit was not on the calendar. Since it's a newer Grand Prix, it has only ever been raced on the Baku City Circuit with no other track configurations. Since its 2016 Grand Prix debut, Azerbaijan has never had a Formula One driver, so there are no records of local drivers on this circuit. Some Azerbaijani drivers have competed in lower categories, but none have come close to Formula One. So this information really can't be presented for this particular Grand Prix. The fastest lap recorded in a race at this circuit is held by Charles Leclerc, who in 2019 set a time of 1:43.009, which allows him to have the absolute race lap record. The most successful team in the history of this Grand Prix is Red Bull, which has achieved 4 victories in 2017, 2021, 2022 and 2023, which makes them for now the top team in terms of championships, and who are the kings of Baku. And only one driver has managed to win again at this circuit in this Grand Prix since its inauguration in 2016. And to be the sole all-time top winner, we're talking about Sergio Checo Perez, who won this competition in 2021 and 2023 and is the only one with more than one victory. Also earned podiums in 2016, 2018 and 2022. This makes the Mexican the most successful driver in this circuit's history, and that's the final fact about this Grand Prix. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our preview of the 2025 Formula One Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But this is where I ask you, do you think Verstappen will beat the men in orange again on a fast circuit? Do you think we'll have a chaotic race? Do you think the battle will finally break out in the McLaren team? Let me know who you think will be the top 3 podium drivers at this Sunday's Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Let me know all your opinions in the comments section. With nothing more to add, I say goodbye by telling you that if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so you know when I'm uploading a new video, and share this with your friends. Also, I invite you to follow us on our Instagram and Twitter accounts. The links will be in the description of this video, and I'll see you this Sunday, for the recap at the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Thank you for tuning in. See you later.